talk a little bit about the budget today and things, so I'll turn it over to Melissa, we'll get going, and we'll start with where we are right now in our expenditures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board.
Oh my God, very nice.
So we'll start off with our financial statements for November. Preemptively, not many things have changed, so I'm going to kind of go through that a little faster so we have a little more time to spend with the budget. So after 8 months ending November 30th, the authority is reporting into consolidated operating income just over $3 million. This does exclude capital contributions and non-operating expenses. Operating revenues, again, are staying consistent at this point in the year. They are 6.6% over budget, 9.5% over prior year, and 17% over fiscal year 24. The variance in regular line revenue continues to be consistent, and we are staying around 5% over the ridership is about 5% over prior year. Special line revenue continues to have a favorable performance, which is dictated by contract rate increases, both scheduled and unanticipated. And advertising and other revenues continue to be in line with budget and in line with prior year. Any questions there?
You said it was 6.6% over budget?
That is what I said. Oh, 6.3.
6.3.
Yep. Yes, so 6.6 is overall, 6.3 is regular line. As of November 30th, operating expenses total just around $62 million, representing $5.9 million increase compared to prior year. Current year expenses are performing $5.8 million under the budget expectations. Personnel expenses total $43 million and are performing $5.5 million under budget expectations and $2.4 million over prior year. All these categories are consistent with prior months, with the main variance being that the budget consists of all positions being fully staffed for the entirety of the year. So I anticipated this type of variance. Non-personnel expenses total just under $18.8 million, $219,000 under budget, and 5.3 over prior year. Again, these categories are consistent with what I've reported in prior months, with the most notable one being risk management, and that has to do with current or prior year claims realized in the current year. Do you have any questions on the expenses? So overall, personnel expenses are 11.4% under budget, 5% over prior year. Non-personnel expenses are 1.2 under budget and 23% over prior year. That large percentage is driven by risk management line. Overall, expenses are performing 8.5% under budget, 10.5% over prior year, and 19% over fiscal year 24. Non-operating revenues are 3.3% under budget, 3.7% over prior year, and 13% over fiscal year 24. With the most notable and favorable variance being mortgage reporting tax, that is still holding steady at 30% over budget and 27% over prior year. Any questions into our non-operating revenue? Mortgage recording tax receipts total just under $724,000. $715,000.
Sometimes I move folks based on the interest rates and with the discussion of the lowering rate, you see more action with the MRT.
Also, in the winter months, we see that the receipts generally dip too. People don't really want to move in the winter. So those are 30% over budget, 27% over prior year, and 33% over fiscal year '24. Still moving in the right direction. In regards to our investment report, unrestricted operating cash totals 16.2 million as of November 30th. In November, we did receive our annual STOA payment, and in those months, you'll see a spike in cash. Unrestricted board designated funds total 4.2 million. Subsequent to close, we did invest 3 million of the health reserve into a treasury bill. That treasury bill was invested in a 3-month bill with a yield of 3.56%. In regards to our treasury bills as of November, this is excluding what I just said was invested. November 30th, we have 15.1 million in operating funds invested and 14.7 in board designated funds. And now all of those bills are under 4%. Any questions? Yeah.
26,000 on $3 million.
Nope. Nothing else. So during the month of November, operating cash receipts totaled 18.9 million. Again, 14.3 of our annual STOA payment. We did receive 600,000 in the 18D match. Cash utilization for daily operations was 6.8 million, and we did invest additional 5 million in operating funds because of that STOA payment that we received. Any questions in regards to the financial statements and supplemental reports? If there's no questions, then we'll take it on.
No other questions, and I have a motion move it to the full committee. Julius, second, Eileen, discussion. All in favor? Okay. Moving on now to the home operating budget. And I spent the day Friday out here with Chris Wilson team going over this budget in detail. As we look at this, as we know we have our fund balance, as we just discussed. But the other thing we're going to show a deficit in this budget, okay, of about 11 million. Okay? But there could be things that could be done here to mitigate that. But also, when you're dealing with your funders, you want to show the most realistic reality as possible, okay, as you're advocating not only for this authority, but for NIPTA across the state. So it's really important. So I just wanted to throw that. We'll get deeper into it. I'll turn it to Melissa. Robert, you got a question?
No.
Okay, so I just want to give you a little heads up what's going on here. But we want to see the most realistic, and we want to make sure the people that are supporting us understand that too. Melissa.
So I'm going to have Tara and Jared come up, and they're going to present
He's getting his intelligence from the outer space right now.
I can see it.
I love it. It's coming in strong.
We can blame this on Kate and Melissa.
It's your little part of Simba.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. As Melissa stated, I'll be presenting the part of the proposed 26-27 budget. So just to give you a general overview of our approach on the budget, we use a zero-based budgeting model, which means building the budget from the ground up based on needs and costs, rather than solely relying on prior spend levels. It's a team collaboration. involves executives, directors, managers, most of which are in this room. We identify department needs, evaluate union contracts and contractual commitments, as well as identify operating and non-operating revenue sources, as well as capital revenue sources and capital improvement needs. Any questions for David? So as we build the budget, we anticipate some challenges such as rising operating costs, workforce shortages, unpredictable operating assistances, as well as unpredictable mortgage recording tax revenue. However, there is optimism for the future, such as continued ridership growth in operating revenue, increases to service, and hiring and retaining staff. So what does this mean for Central? So in summary, Central is managing a complex financial environment shaped by rising operating costs, workforce shortages, unpredictable increases for operating assistant and mortgage recording tax revenue. These challenges require careful planning, thoughtful prioritization, and a commitment to using resources and funds strategically. Despite these constraints, Central is actively reshaping its system in positive and forward-looking ways, such as network designs in Syracuse and Oswego are creating a more efficient and understandable networks that we will make better use of. Each operator's hours while improving connectivity for rides, increased frequency and addition of on-demand service in Syracuse area are all being done with the anticipation of increased ridership and operating revenues. Hiring and retaining staff remains a constant priority for Central.
Got a question.
Sure.
The retaining staff, that means comparing what you're doing compared to other entities?
Retaining staff, right? Generally our largest subset of turnover is with our drivers. So we want to hire them and keep them here. And Jackie and her team is working really hard to make sure that we're doing that.
Any other questions? The 26-27 proposed operating budget anticipates the following. Revenues are budgeted to total $93.4 million, representing a 6% increase from the 25-26 adopted budget and a 2% decrease compared to projected year-end results. This decline primarily reflects anticipated changes in operating assistant and investment revenues. Expenses are budgeted to total $105 million, a 4% increase over the 25-26 adopted budget and a 10% increase compared to projected year-end results. These increases are driven by the rising costs related to labor, insurance, healthcare maintenance, and contracted services. As a result, the authority anticipates a 26-27 budget deficit of $11.6 million. This projected shortfall represents a modest improvement compared to the $15.3 million deficit published in the 25-26 budget book. Any questions? Operating revenues are budgeted at $15.9 million, representing a 10% increase over the 25-26 adopted budget and a 5% increase compared to projected year-end projections. Regular line revenue are budgeted at $4.8 million, a $232,000 or 5% increase over projected year-end projections. This increase reflects anticipated ridership growth across all counties, supported by planned service increases in Onondaga County and revenue generated by the New York State Fair. Special line revenues are budgeted at $8.8 million, representing a $606,000 or 7% increase over projected year-end projections. The increase is driven by higher contract revenues, evolving service requirements through community partnerships, and shuttle service revenue associated with New York State Fair. And Advertising and other revenues are budgeted at 2.3 million, at 22,000 or 1% decrease compared to projected year-end projections. Any questions?
Going back to the deficit of the levy, are we looking at it as the fact that because of COVID, there was a large increase, and in other words, we don't know what is coming to fill that, if we're gonna have something to fill that?
That is correct. So during COVID, we did get those emergency relief funds through the federal government. That really made a toll through the last 4 years. And now we're back to normal funding levels. So, well, you've been around pre-pandemic, so you recognize the deficits, right?
Yes.
We had like a $4 million deficit pre-COVID, and now this is just, would be normal growth if we would have never got those emergency relief
Okay,
funds.
so that's what I want to, to be revealed so people can understand
Yes,
what we are talking about when we talk
Good point.
about the 11 million.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
To continue on revenue, so the budget reflects increases in transit advertising agreements, projected lease revenues, and higher parking lot revenues. They are partially offset by the closure of Route 81 parking lots. Non-operating revenues are budgeted at 77.4 million at 2.7 million, or 3% decrease compared to projected year-end projections. Non-operating revenue consists of the following: operating assistance is budgeted at 68 million, or 1.1 million, or 2% decrease from year-end projections. Federal assistance is budgeted at 7 million, reflecting a return to more traditional funding levels. And state assistance is budgeted at 57.9 million, and is flat compared to projected year-end results. Mortgage recording tax revenue, or MRT, is budgeted at 8.7 million, a 956,000, or 10% decrease compared to year-end projections. MRT is an inherently unpredictable revenue source and is therefore budgeted conservatively. Actual revenues may increase as the final budget develops.
So in RT, they probably took a look at historic trends.
Correct. Investment revenue is budgeted at 450,000, representing a 488,000 or 50% decrease from projected year-end projections. This decrease reflects expectations of lower interest rates in the coming year, as well as reduced idle cash available for investment due to projected budget deficit. Just to piggyback off that, I recently had to reinvest a T-bill a couple days ago, and it was at 2.52%, and I had to catch a meeting, and so I finalized the reinvestment a couple hours later, and that rate had changed to 2.47. So they're moving.
The maturity,
Yeah,
how long was it?
2 months. So they're moving the wrong direction.
Depends on what side
Yeah.
you're on.
One question I have for you, on the advertising and other revenue, you got that area, you got it says a deficit there, what's that, 20?
Yep,
Yeah.
so that's accurate, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So in the comparison to budget, we had budgeted a, potential opportunity for a lease to go into our RTC building that hasn't come to fruition. So that's where you're gonna see that negative 21 million. And then the change in the projection, obviously, we're going to adjust the current budget for that, as well as next year, the 81 parking lots, those will be going away in August. So those are the two reasons for those deficits. Things completely out of our control, unfortunately.
Any other questions on revenue? So we'll get expense good. So total expenses are budgeted at 105 million, representing a 4% increase over the 25-26 adopted budget. and a 10% increase compared to over year-end projections. Personnel expenses are budgeted at $74.7 million, and $8.4 million, or 8% increase over year-end projections. All personnel categories are budgeted assuming full staffing levels for the entire year. Salaries and wages total $45.5 million, reflecting a $5.2 million or 13% increase over year-end projections.
And remember that, folks, full staffing levels, and we know what the reality is of that, okay, but that's good budgeting.
The budget assumes expenses associated with staffing levels across all departments, union contract wage increases, the RPM program, annual cost of living adjustments, also known as COLA, and all 79 currently vacant positions budgeted as filled. Other employee benefits are budgeted at $4.7 million, an increase of $465,000 or 11% over year-end projections. This reflects full staffing levels. Healthcare expenses are budgeted at $16.3 million, representing a $2.3 million or 16% increase over year-end projections. The budget reflects, again, full staffing regarding healthcare benefits as well. Workers' compensation is budgeted at $3.7 million, an increase of $348,000 or 10% over year-end projections, again assuming full staffing. Pension benefits are budgeted at $4.5 million, representing a $92,000 or 2% increase over projected year-end results. The budget considers all 5 retirement plans and incorporates actual guidance to ensure adequate funding aligned with market performance. Any questions with the personnel expenses? Non-personnel expenses are budgeted at $30.3 million, a $1.3 million or 4% increase over year-end projections. Risk management expenses are budgeted at $5 million, a $1.8 million or 26% decrease compared to year-end projections. Prior year projections include substantial claim costs related to incidents from prior years that were recognized in fiscal year 26. The 26-27 budget anticipates a return to more typical expense patterns with liability insurance premium increases consistent with industry trends. Purchase transportation is budgeted at $6.3 million, reflecting a $260,000 or 4% increase over year-end projections. The budget anticipates continued growth in paratransit service demand, partially offset by cost efficiencies achieved in the current year through streamlined trip planning by implementation of data software. Materials and supplies are budgeted at $5.2 million, an increase of $489,000 or 10% over year-end projections. This includes supplies necessary to maintain and clean buses and facilities, routine operational purchases, and one-time items such as New York State Fair signage, storage shed for the state fair, and a golf cart. Services are budgeted at $9 million, representing a $1.55 million or 21% increase over year-end projections. This includes both one-time and ongoing contracted services such as legal, audit, pension, maintenance services, as well as expenditures related to vehicle systems, software, advertising and marketing, and transit advocacy. Fuel expenses are budgeted at $2.8 million, an increase of $305,000, 12% over year-end projections. The budget reflects historical and projected fuel usage, anticipated fuel price increases, locked-in rates, and higher consumption associated with redesigned service networks. Utilities and other expenses are budgeted at $1.9 million, representing a $455,000 or 32% increase over year-end projections. This This, reflects anticipated utility rate increases for electricity, natural gas, and water, high facility related utility usage, employee training and development costs, and other operational support. Any questions? That's it for me.
So now we're going to move into projections. For the next, we have this current year of 11.6 in the next 3 years. So the multi-year budget projections indicate anticipated operating deficits over the next several years. The authority is projecting expected operating shortfalls driven by the following factors. Expenses increase approximately 4%. Operating revenues are also going to, we anticipate, year over year increase about 4%, but the non-operating revenue is, we're budgeting that relatively flat. So with these projections, the common question or the logical question is, what are our strategies to cover these budget gaps? So we do have some, actively working through those. So revenue related initiatives. So we are looking to expand our community partnerships through our Business Pass program. We continue to evaluate and negotiate existing contracts with community partnerships, making sure that we are aligning the rates in those contracts with actual cost of services. We will continue to invest idle cash when feasible to maximize those types of earnings. We are exploring optimizing our accounts payable process through the use of a commercial card. This could potentially provide us a rebate just by simply paying our bills from anywhere from 0.84% to 2.32%, depending on the transaction and volume of participants and people that will take an electronic form of payment. That's revenue that we don't have in this budget right now. We are still exploring those options. We're meeting with a couple banks in the next couple months. So we're excited about that opportunity. We're going to continue to advocate both on the federal and state level to help fund public transit and continue the message of how important it is to fund public transit. And then certainly, Derek mentioned this earlier, the efforts with the system redesigns. These will hopefully shorten headways, increase frequency, and then in turn would increase ridership, which then would increase revenue to us. Some expense initiatives that we're looking at are to continue to evaluate departmental needs, distinguishing essential department expenditures and non-essential department expenditures. We're going to investigate different types of rebate credits for alternative fuel sources. We are continuing to advocate for the return of the CNG fuel credit that previously would provide anywhere between $300,000 and $500,000 in annual revenue. And then, sorry, lost my. Thank you. Remain diligent in securing, locking in favorable fuel rates to mitigate volatility. Advocating for changing the under the HUD requirement for transit employees, which will help with our retention and recruitment efforts. Any questions in regards to our efforts? Yes.
Just something to consider. Oswego County is piloting infotainment in our buses to sell digital advertisements that we can change right from. So that may be an avenue to explore. We're using capital federal funding to support the purchase through ATC 100%. But just, I don't know if you guys have explored digital advertisements, but it's.
So we are, those are conversations we're having, and we're potentially going to pilot that in our BRT system.
That's exciting.
We have a demo. We have a demo actually being installed.
Correct. I believe it's next week it's getting installed, but it should be in the buses here soon. We're at least one bus.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
and we've already, Steve and his team have met with Lamar to talk about how to sell that space. What is the target market? So we are looking at it.
Lamar, we love working with them too.
Yeah, Nicole's awesome. Yeah.
Questions?
Go ahead.
I want to compliment you on a good job you've done with the treasuries. Okay, you took advantage of the negatively sloping yield curve, and you got short. However, the other side of the coin is you see the risk. When the things mature, you have to reinvest. Okay, the funds you're dealing with are in reserve accounts.
Correct.
Okay, and not all that money necessarily will be needed, a month.
Correct.
What you might wanna consider doing is doing an analysis, and I'm not suggesting you look at 30-year bonds, but what I'm suggesting is you do an analysis of when you may need the funds, okay? And then what you could do is, instead of putting all of the money in a 2-month, ladder the portfolio out a little bit. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months.
Yeah.
And then that way you could take advantage of now the positively sloping yield
Yeah.
curve.
That's a good
Yes,
point.
thank you.
Good point. Yeah, cash flow.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions on this? We understand where we're at?
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
Okay, you made a very good decision looking at the treasuries and not CDs. Because the CDs are only insured to $250,000, and the treasuries are very liquid.
Yes.
I mean, in the spread, the difference between the bid and the ask is minuscule. So, but had you bought the CDs, you can sell them, but
You're gonna, yeah.
you're gonna pay a bigger spread.
Thank you. So specifically on the operating revenues, as explained, year over year, we're projecting a 4% increase. This, for operating, regular line revenues, we are regular line revenues are assuming a 2.2% increase, and that's a normal trend of increase of ridership over the next couple of years. The supplemental revenue, that's where we're going to see our biggest projected increase year over year of 5%. That has to do with anticipated partnerships, as well as that constant review of those revenue contracts to ensure that our community partners are paying close to what the service is costing. In advertising and other, we're assuming a 2.4% increase annually, and those are our lease contracts, generally, primarily at the RTC. Non-operating revenue, we budget these very conservatively. Operating assistance, New York State assistance, federal assistance, we project that relatively flat, as well as mortgage recording tax. Generally speaking, our gain on the disposal of capital assets stays very consistent, around that 50,000, with exception if we have a big bus delivery, then that might spike up every 8 years or so when we're in a rotation. And then investment revenue, we are budgeting a smaller decrease in that. As we spoke about, the interest rates are going down, and then with a deficit, we will have less idle cash to invest. So this is a better look, Luella, what you were asking about, of our operating assistance. So the first portion of that is the federal assistance. Historically, pre-COVID, our operating assistance from the federal side is going to be preventative maintenance. So those are funds we were able to use capital that we were able to convert into operating dollars to keep our assets in the state of good repair. And then Oneida operating assistance, 5311 operating assistance, those are for our rural counties, and that is passed through by New York State. And then TANF funds, that's where we total that $7 million in federal assistance. State assistance, we are keeping our STOA flat. That is generally the expectation from the governor is, budget flat, and we're hopeful. Chris is very much advocating for the 15% and with NIPA's support of 15% increase. We could really use it, but we're gonna anticipate getting nothing. The
Hold on,
state.
just one question. Chris, on that NIPA support, are the upstate properties together on it?
Yes, we are together on it. I will share, you're looking at the 11 million deficit, certainly,
When I say upstate, I mean.
Albany, Rochester, Buffalo, yes. So we're all consistent, we are seeing a large deficit consistently across the properties, where maybe pre-pandemic, we were the ones who usually looking at a $2.5–3 million deficit, where they were adding service with the revenue increase, we were just maintaining our system. But we are consistent across the board. The deficit itself is higher than the 15% ask, but we also have to be realistic in the current environment with the administration on the federal side and how it's impacting the states, that we can't go in and try to ask for a 27% still increase and realistically receive that. So we're trying to be reasonable. We've had conversations with our legislators and they get it, they understand it. We also know there's hurdles in the next year with a new election, upcoming elections, not only on the governor's side, but so there's a lot of factors that they're all in support of it, they understand it, but you know, it's gonna be a work in progress over the next 3 months.
Are you guys receiving STOA in quarterly payments and then one large full payment after the fourth quarter?
No, we're a little different than, like, Emily Road. So
We're trying to grasp how the payments work.
So we are our STOA amount is legislated, so we know exactly the dollar amount we're going to get, where in your instance, it is, I believe what Ross was explaining to us at, NIPTA this year is, the smaller rural counties, you guys, they have a budget, and then there's been some surplus, so at the end, that last quarter, they give out whatever the surplus is by county. We just know exactly what we're going to get, so it's
4 payments.
4 payments.
Okay, so that helps with the budgeting for
Yeah.
at least.
And I know from the state side conversations that we've talked about, I think that they are trying to improve their formula calculation to make sure you get 4 consistent payments instead of 3 and then a large payment.
Yeah, and that's hard for budgeting.
Yeah,
there.
so they're trying to improve that, and it is an initiative on the state side that they've mentioned to us.
Yeah, that's very helpful.
So the state match to the preventative maintenance, that's the match to that federal share. And then we do have a special state assistance right now for our mobility on demand in Rome. That was a one-time operating assistance allotment for 5 years. So we are in year number 2. So in 2030 and 31, we will no longer have that $250,000 for that service. And then our local assistance is our 18B match to STOA. That is another thing that we are actively having conversations with New York State to legislate to increase. That has relatively been flat, with exception of the addition of Portland County. And then we do get a small subsidy from Oswego County of $15,000. So that's what's making up our operating assistance. We no longer have any COVID relief funds.
Talking about local, I'm curious, are we eligible to get mortgage tax from Micron?
We will. I believe we will. Even though they gave them the large tax break, I do not believe they have the opportunity. For the law that was passed in 2017, the IDAs do not exempt the transportation portion of the MRT tax. So rummaging through what we've seen published online right now, nothing is identified specifically the MRT and the transportation. It's a lot more school district tax and things, but from what we understand in the law and where it is right now, we should still receive the MRT portion of that. But we're still keeping an eye on it and making sure that we're not losing out on that.
So operating expenses overall, we're assuming a 4% increase. Each category has a slight different increase. Salaries and wages are 3% year over year. Same with other employee benefits. Healthcare is assuming a 6% increase year over year. Workers' comp is assuming a 5% increase year over year. Pension, consistent with wages, is a 3% year over year. Risk management, based on industry standards, and what we've seen is a 10% increase year over year. Purchase transportation, that continues to, our call about service and demand continues to rise, so that is at a 5% year over year. Materials and supplies is a 4% increase year over year. Services as well is a 4%. Fuel, we are anticipating a 5% increase year over year, as well as utilities, and other operating expenses is assumed at 2% year over year, keeping to that average of 4% year over year. Any questions in regards to any of the expenses?
Oh, one question, yeah.
Yeah.
This is my ignorance right here. I've been hearing over the administration that the healthcare thing's gonna be skyrocketing. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, we are seeing, so Jackie brought forth last meeting the increase to the Excelis plan, which is our Utica plan, where we saw a 17% increase in the premiums there. In our larger plan here in Syracuse, Oswego, and Auburn, we didn't see a large increase. I think it was 2% we had. So we are seeing the increases for sure that are happening. The Excelis plan got hit a lot harder than our UMR plan, but we're monitoring it to see. We actually offered a secondary plan in Utica that they never had to help curb some of that cost increase that the employees would have seen. But yes, it's definitely hitting not only us, but also the premiums that we're paying.
Any other questions? No, you're good, you're good.
Any other questions from Melissa? Or her team?
I don't know if I need two different motions, one for the
Yeah.
Do group them together?
operating and
We have
capital.
a separate.
Do we group capital and operating together? They gotta be separate.
Oh, why don't you do them separately?
Okay, so I have a motion on the operating budget. Okay, Heather, second, Robert. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And now we're gonna go into the capital budget.
Yep, and I'm gonna turn over to Sarah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
Let's chat real quick, thank you, about the capital budget. So this is the budget for 26-27, and there are 36 projects within this budget that are going to total just over $17.2 million in capital improvements. All of the projects are going to be funded with a mixture of federal, state, and local monies. And of this schedule of spending, I wanted to highlight a few that are within the categories here. So we have facility upgrades that we're including, and you've heard a lot about the CNG facility rehabilitation, and that is scheduled for completion as part of this budget. We also have some trench drain improvements that are going to happen, and NFPA compliance items are going to happen. And NFPA is the National Fire Protection Association. We have some updates we have to do to remain in code. There are a number of door replacements that we're going to do as well in the facility upgrade line. Another one in here is the land acquisition line under the Oneida capital improvements. And that land acquisition is for the construction building that's going to happen for the consolidation. In equipment and system upgrades, we're going to have lifts in there, bus equipment, there are fare boxes and a vault in there for Cortland. And there's also some new LED traffic lights that we're going to do at the Syracuse Hub as well within that project line. There are a number of vehicles in here, 11 paratransits, there's a plow truck, and various service and support vehicles in our Cortland and Utica locations. And I also want to highlight some transit enhancement projects. We have the BRT or bus rapid transit development, and also the installation of some real-time solar displays as well. So these projects, like I said, they're scheduled to be completed in the fiscal year. Any questions?
Will you guys ever consider solar shelters for your bus shelters,
So right now, the plan is yes for BRT.
just for BRT?
Right now is the first wave is BRT. We are gonna do some solar signage throughout the network in conjunction with BRT and the system redesign.
And it's
but
just lighting, just the lighting?
It'll include lighting and real time. So we're gonna power the real time signs in the shelters with solar as well.
It's more than just BRT, it's about 50 shelters across the network.
Oh, we are transitioning to the shelter.
And then we'll get more into the BRT shelters as well.
Great.
Sorry.
Any other questions? All right, let's go ahead and talk about some unfunded projects that we also have included. So there are 13 of them, and they are valued at $3.5 million. And as always, we are going to continue to evaluate where we can find funding to get these projects completed in the fiscal year. We will be looking at capital surpluses, we can look at adjustments in project prioritization, and also the ability to latch onto some new capital funding sources. And some of the projects that are included in here within the building line are fire alarm device upgrades. Don't panic because it's fire alarm devices. Don't panic. There are flooring replacements and also exterior signage for each of our facilities across the system. In the land improvement lines, there is the concrete repair and pavement sealing projects. And in office equipment, we have the general software acquisition, we have tablets, and various office supply needs. Any questions?
The office equipment, is that where you're gonna put your security and stuff like that?
So like a security badge, yeah, there'll be various printers and things that will go into that project. And then lastly, this is our capital improvement funding plan. And this identifies which fiscal year that funding is going to be available to move forward with. But I want you to think of this as a year in arrears. Projects that are going to be completed happen the following fiscal year. So the funding that we're going to put in place in 26-27 fund the projects that fall into 27-28. And the funding that you see here, we are assuming that our federal and state levels remain consistent with the history at which we have received funding. So being that we have a volatile thing, we do anticipate them, but there is some wiggle room to adjust. So this is our best assumption. And some key highlights here that are included over this 5-year period is the bus rapid transit project here in Syracuse, the construction of the new facility in Oneida for the consolidation of Utica Rome services, and also the fixed route paratransit and service vehicles that we anticipate in the next 5 years. I do want to highlight though, in the 29-30, we do have the $33.5 million deficit or currently unfunded for the Oneida facility.
So we are actively competitive awards for competitive awards. Last cycle we were not awarded the bus money for BRT. We did get the $21.44 million is award that we received from New York State for their ZET program. So we're actively pursuing other opportunities. We will be putting in another low no when those come available. And we're always looking at any outlier grants that might not be traditional, as well as pursuing any state opportunities that come available.
And Jeff is going to give a project for Oneida, but one of the things we're here for they want to see the funds being used. They want to see shovel-ready projects. They want ribbon cuttings. They want the money to be available, used, and see the results. Jeff will talk, we're really at the 30% drawing phase. The land acquisition is going to happen this year. So we're hopeful as we get a little bit closer to the timeline of construction, we will be in a better position to maybe be more competitive in these funds because they're going to award us the funds and then they're going to see it be used right away.
So any questions about the capital plan?
Question on the capital. So, these are fluid, these things move. It's, if we get the funding, if we tweak them, and always costs and everything else, hopefully. They'll stabilize. Good. This was good, Tim.
Yeah, a motion to accept that motion.
May I have a motion? Julia, second. Darrell. All in favor? Aye. Good job, team. Good job. Good job.
Yes, and I also just wanted to add, to Derek's point, this was an extreme team effort. Executive staff, directors, management, all of the finance team, so procurement team, the accounting team, the payroll team, grants administration. We put several hours into this budget process, so I want to thank everyone for their input and their hard work as well.
I'm glad you guys are staying on top of this thing because of the new administration coming in here, the local and what's going on, 2026 and stuff like that, you know.
A lot of things happening, we're gonna shake it.
So we're gonna go on to resolution, 38. Caitlin's gonna talk about the software and maintenance agreement. Good morning, Caitlin.
Mr. Chairman, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So this is the resolution for the multi-year software maintenance agreement with Trapeze Software Group. This will be paid for with operating funds. So this is a sole source procurement with Trapeze, as this software is proprietary. We utilize this to support our transit operations, mostly with operations and service development departments.
Yeah, this is done, we've been using this now for,
I
I know,
20
years.
I know,
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
25, so, yeah.
Yeah,
So the total cost of this 5-year agreement is $1,614,208. Now we are looking to enter into this agreement retroactively to June 1st of 2025. We did hit some roadblocks in getting an acceptable agreement with the vendor, but they have continued to provide support, so we haven't been without in this interim time. So I'm looking for a retroactive award to Trapeze for a 5-year term.
Okay, so the recommendation would be for a little bit over 1.6 million from June 1st, 25 to May 31st, 2030.
Yes.
Do I have a motion? Robert, any questions for Caitlin?
Second.
Oh, second, I'm sorry, second. Second, Darlene. Any question, any discussion or questions? Okay, this is what we do. Yeah, so all in favor, aye.
Thank you.
Very good job with that.
Thanks, Kate.
Okay, Melissa, anything else to discuss? Okay, let's take a little bit of a break here. Thank you. start, we all set over here? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna start, with the Pledge of Allegiance, we're gonna have Santa Claus, Saint Nick.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have a quorum present, next meeting, January 23rd, Pension Committee, let's hope the market's still doing well. Audit and Finance Board meeting at 10. May I have a motion to approve the regular minutes of November 21st. Julia, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Chris.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. A few highlights, some continuation conversations that we talked about even earlier this morning. We are actively hitting the ground running on our 15% NIFTA STOA ask, along with some other things, certainly in conversations with Cortland joining the authority. We were hoping to get some dedicated revenue for the Cortland service. Rochester now looks to be taking over Yates County, so they're looking for something. So we're gonna try to come together with a joint effort to increase funding for these type of county, what NIPDA is calling, New York State DOT is calling regionalization. So we're gonna continue to push for that, but the 15% is a go. The, not in my report, but just throwing it out there, the state of the state will be January 13th at 1 p.m. So hopefully after that, we will see what the proposal is in the executive budget, which helps Melissa now determine if there's an increase. Certainly, the budget office asks us to plan for flat increases, but certainly anything above flat is beneficial. So we'll continue to push for that as we start lobbying and pushing our lobbying into the coming year. The holiday season events, this is something that we're growing in and taking a lot of pride in. We talked about the Roller Express that hit the streets earlier last month. That has been a very successful program. We're seeing it, I think, of the 32 dates that we had selected, somewhere 20 to 25 of those dates have actually been filled with providing transportation to individuals and organizations that may not have other means to get the lights on the lake. But another part of our holiday event is the Stuff a Bus. So last year, we partnered with Cicero Fire Department, the Walmart in Cicero, to collect toys for the Christmas Bureau Distribution Day, which was yesterday here at the On Center. We collected 743 toys last year. This year, with our new partnership with the YMCA on the Roller Express, we've expanded to a secondary bus that was out at Fayetteville Town Center with the YMCA. We collected 1,441 toys. So we came very, very close to doubling the number of last year, which is a huge success. The Salvation Army is certainly appreciative of our efforts to do this with conjunction with the YMCA. We did a toy drop-off last Friday and unloaded 2 bus loads of toys to help kids of all ages have a Christmas, essentially, that may not have an opportunity to. So we're very excited about that and continuing to see that grow. We're already having conversations about what next year may hold, as we see the Roller Express expand, as we also see this toy collection program expand. A lot of these efforts really are done right now in Onondaga County, and our efforts are trying to expand these into our subsidiary locations, Oswego, Auburn, Oneida, and Cortland. So very excited about that and seeing the holiday season and the benefits we do. It just tells our message of moving communities forward, helping our communities grow and giving opportunities. We do move people A to B, but we do a lot more behind the scenes, and this is an opportunity to showcase that. On December 13th, we participated in the 2025 Onondaga County Wreaths Across America program. So this is the laying of wreaths at the Onondaga County Veterans Memorial Cemetery. This is the first year we've been asked to participate. We do this in Oneida County with the VFW, but this was Onondaga County reached out to help us, or the program here in Onondaga County. So working closely with the director there, Ellen McCauley, she reached out, asked if we could do a shuttle from OCC to the Holland Hill Veteran Cemetery. They had some safety concerns with the number of people showing up and parking along Howlett Hill. If anybody's traveled that area by OCC, the shoulders are narrow, parking is difficult, and certainly this year, if you remember December 13th, we had quite the snowstorm here in central New York. So they anticipated, 300 to 400 volunteers. They ended up with calling us last minute saying 600 volunteers, and actually on the day of 1,000 people showed up to help lay wreaths at the cemetery. There's 6,400 burials at the cemetery, and they're hoping next year to cover all 6,400 with wreaths. So they're already engaging with us to provide the service next year. Kudos to Ramen and the operations team, because we did not anticipate 1,000 people showing up. They got extra buses up there to help them out. And that just again is continuing what we do to support the community. An event like this that means so much to so many. Next year the event is December 19th. They've already engaged to have us be part of that again. Another thing I want to call out is we talked about some of the federal money that Melissa was talking about. So this coming Monday, Congressman Mannion has asked us to hold a press conference here at Syracuse to talk about the $9.2 million. It'll happen down inside the garage on the low and no emissions grant that we were awarded last month. We certainly appreciate our federal partnerships on that. Participating in it would be myself and the chairman, Mayor-elect Owens, Mayor Walsh, and Congressman Mannion. If anybody wants to come down and be part of the event, you're more than welcome to. It should take place at about 11 o'clock, so if you want to show up a little bit before, between 10 and 10:30, you're more than welcome to.
What day is that again?
That is this Monday, the 22nd. So we are finalizing details as we speak, and I think Steve just finalized most of everything this morning. So that'll happen on Monday here. The other piece I want to call out for the board's knowledge is recognizing Heather for her award from Oswego County for the 2025 Rural Health Champion by the Rural Health Network of Oswego. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, Heather, if I could do this or not, but I figured it's good to let the board know and certainly let the staff know your efforts in Oswego County are recognized by your counterparts in Oswego County. And Mary Ellen Chesborough, who's a friend of my wife's and the family, provided the quote that Heather spearheaded several key initiatives to improve transportation services in Oswego County. And under her leadership, mobility management development has grown to offer more transportation resources, including the new Ride Oswego app. So kudos to you and Oswego County. We're seeing the efforts, and we certainly appreciate the partnership to continue to see Oswego County's transportation network grow.
I appreciate you guys as well.
And then from there, it's the continuation of the usual conversations, the NIFTA, the SMTC, the Arcadis, that we talk about routinely throughout the board meeting. Any questions for me? Julius?
So you get toys and stuff with the YMCA, right?
We collected through the Stuff Bus. They were one of our partners, yeah.
Are you getting anything from Toys for Tot, or you participated in?
So this one was with the Christmas Bureau through the Salvation Army. So we have not partnered with the Toys for Tots program. But we're looking at other avenues that a lot of our collection is around the holiday season, which we know is a certain need. But we're also hearing from our counterparts in the community about during the summer events, there's a need for like the Boys and Girls Club and some other youth organizations that don't have athletic equipment.
Yeah.
We did one back in July. I was on crutches, so 2022. I'm trying to think when I was on crutches or my Achilles. We did an event for school supplies with the partnership with the Syracuse Mets.
Yeah.
So we're trying to branch out to get outside of just toys and try to find other things. And staff is providing feedback too. So.
And I'm glad to see you doing that, because before I retired from Kennedy Square, we had with the Coach for Kids.
Yep.
We were with the International Coach. We got an award for that with all the local cleaners, because they have a lot of leftover coats that people don't even come and pick up. So with our community part, we might be able to participate in that and work with the community centers and stuff like that. That'll be a good connection for them.
Yeah, absolutely. The marketing and communications team has been all over this. I've kind of given them free reins, but set the directive of what are we doing for next year. Let's do more. We like to call it thinking outside the bus. But yes, good concept, and that's really what we're pushing to try to drive. How do we do more things throughout the year instead of trying to sandwich everything from October to December?
That's where you draw closer to the community.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what we're doing, and the marketing team is doing a fantastic job to do that. We're seeing the growth, we're seeing the partnerships come in. the effort with the Roller Express that we've been doing now for 4 years, and it was really small to do 5 trips a year.
Yeah,
And this year we did 22 trips, or 21, 22, something like that.
because I found out that, a lot of kids does not have the proper coat. 'Cause I was looking at it this morning, it was raining. These kids standing out there in the rain, they don't have type of coat and stuff on. So my heart is going towards that, because we got an award for that, working with the coastal kids from New York City, and I still have some participating with that.
Yep. And if you remember with Brenda's retirement message, last month she had talked about, she used to actually collect hats and gloves and give them to the kids when they got on the bus. So some of our staff members here have inquired to say, how do we continue that program and grow with it? So the marketing team has already talked about that idea as well.
Yeah.
So it's in the works.
Fueling futures, just a
Yeah.
Fueling futures. Okay.
Yeah, because you know, we did collect food and stuff with the food thing.
Yep. We did that a couple of years ago. But the Stuff a Bus has been very successful. And how do we take that outside of just Christmas or the holiday season? Any other questions from me? Moving along, keeping it going. Jeff.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning. Good morning, members of the board. Heather, you have a minute.
Yes.
All right, well, you'd asked about it, and I had said December, and it was anticipated to be December, but it looks like it's going to be January, February timeframe that we're going to be putting the system in place.
I'm so interested. Please let me know.
Absolutely.
We're testing a few options.
Yeah.
We've looked at several to see cost and opportunities, uploading data.
Driver barriers, I just want to give the board an update. The replacement of the barriers and glass stanchion lockout mechanisms are arriving in batches, and we're getting them into the buses as soon as we can, between repairs and PMs and everything else. So it's a work in progress. It's going to be several months before this gets completed. CNG station. The CNG station's first electric skid has been successfully commissioned and is operational. While there's been some control issues, the reason is that this skid is actually not underneath Trillium's controls, it's underneath the old control system, so all it's really doing is pushing pressure to the system and the other systems controlling it. It's successfully pressurizing every bus to about 3,600 PSI, which is fantastic. We're looking forward to the next couple of skids coming in. What we've got about January and February timeframe is when they're going to be installing the next 2 skids, and with hopefully a March timeframe of completion. I hate to have to report this, but last night we had an issue. The new skid went down. We got Trillium coming out right now to fix it, but this is to be expected because it's a work in progress. Okay. The Utica garage. I don't know if Melissa can bring up. Oh, here we go. So here is a render of the Utica garage. Wendell, our contractor, has identified a spot which is on Broad Street near the post office in Utica. And they've created some drawings. They're going to continue to create drawings. The next steps for this is the initiation of the environmental review process, which is NEPA and SEEKR. For the board, it's a National Environmental Policy Act, and SEEKR is State Environmental Quality Review Act. So these are going to be ready to go to the feds to get approved, and then once it's all approved, we'll be able to move forward with more plans and everything else.
And once again, folks, I've been advocating probably for this for over 20 years. We're tired of taking a boat to the bus.
This is not in a flood zone.
Very disruptive, and we leased, for everybody's knowledge, we leased the facility. Really, it was $1 a year for a lot of years, and now recently it might be $18,000. So, it's a county-owned property, and it's good maybe for yachts.
True. I just want to give kudos to David and to EJ. Just doing a great job maintaining this and making this look great. There was one thing that did come up. The FTA requires us to protect our assets, building and property, and all of the buses. So there will be a fencing and gate around this. I don't know if we can. It's not on these drawings yet, but that is something we're working on.
It'll probably be something similar to what we have here.
Correct. So we'll bring you more information as it comes along. As you can see here, you got a lot of bus storage, maintenance bays. It's going to be 2 stories, you saw in the picture, with lots of office space, conference room, large conference room, that second floor.
Your department in charge of the rerouting of the buses or anything?
No.
No, that's it.
No, that's Steve's department.
That's it.
We fix them,
Yeah.
clean them, get them on the road, fuel them up. Any other questions? Yeah, it is.
It is a very nice building. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
Robin, hold on, Bruce, because you got a motion, so I'm just won't get you guys.
Morning, everyone. Just real quick, updates. I just want to start by introducing a new member to the IT team. He's been here, I say new, but he's been here going on, what, now?
2 months.
2 months now. He joined our desktop support team in IT, so welcome that. Our latest phishing simulation results that ended in October are in, and we still have a lot of room for improvement. While 116 emails were sent and 30 were correctly reported, we had 8 instances of employees engaging with malicious links or attachments. In response, we mandated immediate remedial training for those individuals to close their security gaps. We're constantly working to instill a culture where every employee acts as a human firewall. We know this training works. Just recently, a real-world phishing email, which cleared our email security system, was stopped by none only than Christoph, our CEO there.
You're responsible for
Remedial training.
Yeah.
He recognized the threat and reported it, preventing likely a breach of his credentials. The hackers attempted this by sending an attachment that had an embedded malicious QR code. Everyone's familiar with QR codes, right? You use your camera, scan, and it touches someplace. So good on Chris for remaining vigilant. Our security technology is excellent, but it's not perfect. Continuous training ensures that when technology fails, our people don't. And my last point, I was debating whether to report 100% on Windows 11 upgrade. We got 1 or 2 systems remaining, so essentially we're done with the Windows 11 upgrade. So I'm happy about that. And with that, that's all I got, unless anybody has any questions.
You have to stay on top of that because they get so much sophisticated right now.
Yeah, the problem is they're using, with the advent of AI, the bad actors are using AI to generate these emails, put things together. It's very convincing, I'm sure you
It looks like the original,
Yeah, and that's why you gotta remain hyper vigilant. Any questions?
Good job.
Thanks, Bruce. Actually, Steve, or Ron, I'm gonna go to Steve, just because of the agenda that Nick has. So,
Me?
yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I get confused. Good morning, everybody.
He wrote the agenda out, you're before Robin. So.
Okay.
She
So,
told us.
I'm gonna start right now with just a brief, as I usually do, a ridership report. November of this year compared to November of last year was relatively flat. It's actually down 4%, but when you consider there was an extra weekday last year that we didn't have this year with the calendar fell, it was flat. Nothing remarkable to really report. Oswego County was up 5%, and Rome was up 10%. The other properties were down a little bit because of the days of the week. But relatively speaking, there's just nothing really to report. I've told you, like I said last month, we're starting to plateau a little bit from a system-wide on ridership. Early returns in December look a little better, so I'm kind of hopeful maybe some ridership increases will continue, but that's where we are. In your package, you were sent the full equity analysis of our Better Bus Oswego project. This is the system redesign for Oswego and Fulton. We held public hearings. This equity analysis is very similar to the preliminary equity analysis that we provided from an analytics standpoint. The only thing that's different in this equity analysis is we've really combined all of the public comment that we received from our public hearings. The city of Oswego public comment was almost nil. It was very easy. Fulton was a little different. There are some concerns with area that we're changing in Fulton. I'm gonna give you a little bit of an overview of this. Just want the board to be aware. It's a little deep in the weeds of what we normally do at this level, but I want the board to be aware of the particular situation that surrounds the location of Fulton Mills. If I'm gonna go through this a little bit, this is our proposed, this is the proposed, the new service area for the city of Oswego. We've talked about this before. It's streamlining the service to 3 routes, increasing the frequency to every 45 minutes. It's simpler, easier to read from a user standpoint. Almost no comment on this at all. Everything's been very positive. We've spoken to students. We've spoken to other stakeholders within the community. I think this is going to be really good for the city of Oswego. Easy access from the SUNY campus to Walmart, and those other really important apartment complexes that we serve are going to be served more frequently. So we're really excited about what's going on in Oswego. Fulton, I want to show you the before and after. This is the before service that we have. It runs very sporadic. It doesn't have a regular pacing to it. You really need to schedule to figure out where you're going. In particular, I want to draw your attention to the Fulton Mills area here, where we currently have a bus stop that's out front here. Travel to the back of the facility. We're having some issues with the residents here who are not thrilled that our proposed routing is eliminating our going in the back of the building. The reason really is based on driver feedback. They are really concerned about congestion back there, and I'll show you some photographs of what we're talking about. It's vehicular congestion, narrowing of the street, really wonky turn, and also just a lot of pedestrian traffic in this traffic circle that we have to navigate. The system in itself, again, it's streamlined, it's easier, it's going to pace at every 80 minutes. This service will run. It'll be on a regular drum beat so people can anticipate when the buses will come. It's more regular, it's easier to understand. Getting deep into the weeds again now here with this Fulton Mills. This is the area we're talking about. We currently have a bus stop that serves the front of the area, but we also come around this curve in particular, I'll show you, and come back here. There's a back door here, and we serve this circle, and our buses have one option. When they come down here, they've got to navigate the circle, and they have to turn around, and they have to go back. If this gets congested, what happens is, there's a parking lot here. We end up setting a bus through a parking lot, which is not ideal. High risk for having accidents and whatnot. I'll show the next schedule. This is the turn I'm talking about. This is perfect. This is straight off of Google Earth. And the concern that our drivers have is, because of these bollards here, we have to make a right-hand turn. We have to swing out the oncoming lane. This is problematic when other vehicles are coming. It gets really worse this time of year when there are snowbanks. The vision going around this turn is not great. They almost have to really kind of hope and guess that there's not a vehicle coming sometimes if a vehicle's coming this way. So they've expressed some concerns about doing this on a regular basis. This is what happens when you get further down the road. This is that building here, all this parking. This narrows to one way. So if there are vehicles coming this way, our buses have to stop. It's a highly congested area to be bringing. What we have is a 30-foot bus that comes through here. The next photograph I'm going to show you is, this is what they do. This is real time from the front camera of our buses. So now we're trying to get to this circle. We've got a vehicle parked here, we have a vehicle parked here, we have a vehicle parked here. The driver had to make that left-hand turn and go into the parking lot to get around. Situation here where somebody's being loaded into a vehicle here. Again, we have the conflict here where the driver's like, I don't want to have to go around this person, and they're making that turn. This is a photograph that I took, that I went up there, and this is the type of just pedestrian traffic that is in the circle. These are just people hanging out in a regular day. This is the circle that we have to navigate. And our drivers, again, when they see this, they're saying, I'm not going to go down there. I'm making that turn. The problem is going through a parking lot is not ideal. Right. It's even a worse situation in many cases. We had a situation in Portland where we're trying to do the same thing in the Servant area, and we actually had an accident. Luckily, nobody was hurt, but we did some damage to the vehicle. And we told the hospital at that point, we can't serve their front circle. They understood. They said, we get it. So what we're trying to do is really remove the bus service from back here. And this is the area where we want to serve. This is the front bus stop that's currently located in the front of the building where we have the other stop. So we'll have all of our stops here. We want to put a shelter. We're going to try to figure out how we're going to put a shelter or where we're going to put a shelter. But we're talking about installing a shelter because the residents are concerned that it's not convenient. Back there, what they were doing is they're waiting inside for the bus.
Yeah.
Well, that sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. Our drivers aren't trained to stop at a stop and wait for people to come out. They're trained that if you're at the stop, we'll stop for you, otherwise we continue on. So here we want to put a shelter, have a stop here, and inside here we've talked about having a real-time information system where people can say, okay, our system can tell you to the minute when the bus is going to arrive, and there's going to be a little map that shows the bus coming down the road. So if we install that, then the wait time outside here is going to be reduced. And we'll have a shelter here where we can install, where people can wait and be safe from elements. The only concern that's been expressed about this is that the police department is not thrilled that we're going to potentially block traffic here. The next slide will show you about how far from the corner. There's a concern that this corner of this road, it gets a little congested. Vehicles making a right-hand turn here. If our bus is loading, it could back up traffic. I get that, but we stop on roads all over the place. We have 5,000 stops in our system. A lot of them do the exact same thing, and we can't control the traffic patterns. Our job is to get people on buses to remove traffic from your community, and I just feel at this point it's in the best interest of everyone that we have a bus that stops here with a shelter and all the other amenities. We might be able to move this down a little bit to create a longer roadway for traffic to kind of back up a little bit before we move, but we currently have a stop. We haven't had any problems now. Having more stops there, I still think is the best option for all the community members. So that's kind of what we thought we would do. Is there one more?
Julie has a question.
Just a question?
Yeah.
Did you do a survey with the people and how they want?
We've met with the folk. We did an outreach session there, the majority of people get it and understand it. There are a handful of individuals though who like the fact that they had a nice kind of personalized bus service where the bus would pull up and listen, our drivers do a great job, but our drivers sometimes would sit there and wait for people to come out because they knew. Other drivers wouldn't do that. So what happens is you have a problem where you have one driver being courteous and trying to do the right thing, but creates a problem where it creates habits of individuals thinking that the bus is always going to stop and wait for people.
How many minutes do they for the wait? At least 5 minutes or something like that?
What's that?
How many minutes do they? No, that's good.
It depends. I mean, it depends. I mean, sometimes they will, one particular driver will actually kind of peer into the glass way there and kind of see in there.
Okay.
But the same driver is the first one to say, I'm not going to deal with all those people sitting there, and I'm going to turn that bus around and try to get back out. So with snow and congestion, that whole area gets narrowed. So I just want you all to be aware of what we're doing there. My recommendation is that we get out of there and try to reduce the conflict there. I think there's still going to be some concern with some individuals at that facility, but we're going to work with them to mitigate all their concerns. And with the police department's viewpoint of everything, I get it, but we're trying to do the best we can to move people and get traffic off the streets. So
I'd like to make a comment. So from a county perspective, we support this transition and this move, especially from a transit perspective. I'm also at this facility quite often, every week, and I'm not exaggerating. I'm there all the time. Our smaller buses also serve here, so there's a lot of traffic and congestion down here. I think that the bus being in front, it opens up access for more public riders to ride the bus as well. So call buses are still going in the back of the building.
Yeah.
So residents that are really struggling still have access to apply for call bus, and so they're not really getting anything taken away from them. It's just improving safety, and especially with the new point system in February, we want the drivers to be really diligent and safe over there.
one thing I was looking at, you know how commercial does things over and over again? Maybe you can get a free spot. Free spot where you can just, maybe a few seconds advertising, get it in people's mind, because, you know, if you change your mind, you can get the things done, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, why don't we try to set up a travel training session there?
Yeah.
I think that would be a good avenue into, hey, this is the
Yeah.
launch coming up.
Because you get it to them over and over again, it becomes harder now.
Any other questions regarding? Okay, with that, there is a resolution, that, we're asking that the board, act on the resolution that would,
Any other questions?
put these service changes into effect on January 26th.
Any other questions for Steve? Okay, if not, I have a motion for it? Okay, second, Darlene? Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you very much.
As we call up Ramen, I just want to, Steve, Bren, Paula, kudos to everybody there. Paula does a great job putting together this report for you guys to review. I think if some of you that have history on the board have seen these reports evolve over time, there's a lot of data in here, but I know from the team itself, and certainly with Heather's help, we've had a lot of conversations with the folks in Oswego County to get this to be successful. So kudos to everybody involved in that as well.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. On an annual basis, the FTA requires operators of public transportation systems to submit a Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, which we call PTASP for short. This is a copy of it right here. We have also sent out the updated 2025 version in digital form to all the board members as part of the board packet. The PTASP includes the authority's safety management policy, risk management, annual safety performance targets, safety assurance measures, and safety promotion initiatives. This is a living document. It's continuously updated alongside any applicable changes to policies, procedures, training, inventory. There's a lot that goes into this. Please note that New York State Public Transportation Safety Board, PTSB, also requires that we have a system safety plan. To ensure that we're not duplicating our efforts, we actually, this is a composite safety plan that it covers all the requirements for both federal and state. So it is both the New York State and the federal plan. Some of the updates for 2025 plan include revisions to safety performance measures, objectives and targets, as well as risk mitigation strategies. The addition of maintenance safety committee. We already have a driver safety committee, but one of the additions for 2025 was the establishment of a maintenance safety committee. A new safety management system, which the board approved a couple years ago, which was put into effect. It's a risk management system. We rolled that out back in November successfully to all of our properties, along with several other minor administrative updates, title changes, position changes, that kind of thing. So prior to submission to the FTA, the plan has to be approved by an 8-member labor safety committee, which has already taken place, and then it has to go on for board approval. So at this time, we're requesting a motion for the board to adopt the 2025 Centro Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. Words there.
Any other questions? May I have a motion? Julia, second. Heather, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you. Thanks, Sean. Also, kudos to the team on that. This is not an easy task. It requires several departments to come together to make sure the policies are updated, the information is updated. So it extends, the operation team is a big part of it and headed up, but Jackie's team, the safety team, the labor, Jeff's team, it touches every department. So it comes together to make this happen.
It is an annual review, right?
Correct.
One question I have for you. The route, since we're on the block of West Kennedy, which department is that?
That would be Steve and Brent.
You know, when we were doing the new street on 3 on the block, the bus would be routed through Trice-Wright down to West Kennedy. So you reroute it again down to come down Midland again. Is that going to be permanent route? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Is Is that because of
Because,
construction?
because they're doing the streets and everything on 300 block of.
It would be, it will,
So you, right now,
if
you.
it's on detour, then it'll go back on detour when the project's completed, yeah.
People ask me that question, so.
Okay, moving on to Audit and Finance Committee, all these were discussed in detail this morning. I know it's, first motion that was moved to the full board was, let's go over statement of revenues and expenditures, which seems to be, little change from prior months, but seems to be in a good place. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion? Okay, Luella, second. Julius. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Also, Melissa and her team went through the 26-27 proposed operating budget, realizing challenges that we could face at this point, but as we know in the business that we're in, it's quite fluid as we see where our funding sources end up and where our advocacy ends up. But it's good to hear that our upstate partners are together on their advocacy. But it's a budget that shows full complement of individuals, and I think it's a conservative approach, which is good. Motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. I have a motion. Luella, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Also, Melissa and her team brought forth the capital budget, which I guess the capital budget, what I would say immediate plans for projects, and then long-term plans phased over multiple years. And that is something that's also moving based on funding for these projects. But I thought it was well put together, and I think the board also thought that. So motion was made to bring it to the full board for approval. May I have a motion, please? Heather, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Also, Caitlin brought forth Trippy Software, which is a sole source for a resolution. And that resolution is 3A for a contract which would be just north of 1.6 million from June 1st, 2025 to May 31st, 2030. May I have a motion? Luella, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We did approve the resolution 2D. We already approved that. Okay. Any old business? Julius?
Go ahead, Julie. With Southwest Community Center, we want to thank the board and I think for participating in their 50th anniversary, which is similar to we have our 50th anniversary here. We really appreciate that, and they just had a dinner last night. I didn't get a chance to make that, but anyway, that is a good way for us to continually with our connection with the community and stuff like that. And I think we are getting closer. I'm looking forward myself, as being a young 80-year-old man, continue participating with getting Central even closer to the community and stuff like that.
Great, sounds good. We appreciate it. Great venue, good cause, and this is where we need to be. Anybody else comments? Old, future? With that, I'd like to just say, I hope everybody here has a great holiday season coming up. You know, you don't have to watch yourself. Eat whatever you want to eat. And carve it out. Carve it out. But no, really, it's, on behalf of the board, we appreciate and value everybody here. It's very important at all our properties. We know the challenges that are in front of you. We know the hard work you do. I mean, you bring us, you know, it's all the case all put together by the time you bring it to us. We don't know how it took to really make it. And we all appreciate your efforts. And
Mr. Chairman?
yes, sir.
The Central plan to participate in the new administration coming up, with the inauguration coming up.
Chris?
We have a great working relationship with the administration, with Mayor Walsh and now with the mayor-elect. We know a lot of our staff some of the staff are sticking around, as we saw, Corey being appointed her deputy mayor, which from SMTC and the team, we've created a good relationship, with Corey herself and through the mayor, Walsh's administration with Mayor Owens. So we continue the communication. They will be here on Monday. That was something we felt was very important, given the topic. So we continue to work with them. We're working right now to actually schedule a meeting after the first of the year, touching base on BRT, but we should see a good seamless transition between the two administrations.
So, last comment from the real Saint Nick. Enjoy your friends and family. Let work all those days that you're at the table. Let it go. It'll always be adjustment. And enjoy. And God bless everybody. And at this point, we won't be coming out for any other business. We're gonna go into just go ahead.
I just want to let, for the board and certainly everybody else, the holiday party is taking place downstairs. It'll start at 11 o'clock, so the timing is about perfect. For the board members, please stop down, have a bite to eat with staff before you head out. But enjoy, and certainly the staff enjoy the party.
So we're gonna have a motion for a short executive session to obtain advice of counsel. Robert, second. Darlene, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. Oh, not adjourned, sorry.
Thanks, everybody. We'll see you downstairs in the field. Yeah, I started crying. I just mentioned it. It should be very quick.
Or text Billy, I can probably.
Yeah, let's add you to the list so I can call.
Okay, I got it back on.
Okay, at this time, no action was taken in executive session. Everybody, we will adjourn the meeting. Have a good holiday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.